Hello, my name is Andréa Albright, and I am thrilled to be interviewing one of Beverly Hills Publishing star authorities. Now, this man is not only a leader as an executive coach, but he's also a spiritual leader. He has gone deep into studying Zen meditation, many other disciplines. And it is so rare that you find a thought leader who is both spiritually awake and also powerful in the executive world. I am so thrilled to be interviewing Eric Kaufmann today about his book, Leadership Breakdown. Welcome, Eric. So nice to have you.
It is a pleasure to be with you, Andrea. It is always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking this time to just share your experience being published by Beverly Hills Publishing. First, can you tell us about what happened before you partnered with us? You've actually published some books before, and what was that experience like?
Yeah, this will be my third book with a publishing company, and I have great love and great appreciation for publishers and publishing companies. The difference, the attractive difference that Beverly Hills Publishing brings to the game is that this is not just publishing a book, it's creating an impact. It's having the most refined way that we can communicate an important message. And it's thinking in a way that isn't really just about my pleasure and the content of what I'm creating, but particularly what my audience needs and how my audience uptakes information and where my audience is going to look for that kind of guidance that I'm longing to share with them. So it was, I've had positive experiences with other publishing companies, but nothing quite as comprehensive.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Well, let's talk about some of the impact that this book has made. You are now a contributor for Forbes, which is one of the most respected business leadership platforms. I believe they have over 175 views every month. And now you are a contributor for Forbes because of the PR and the book all being packaged together. So what does that feel like to now be recognized as a thought leader by Forbes?
It's exciting. It's definitely exciting to be in that platform, and it's exciting for a couple of reasons, right? One is sort of the delightful vanity of being able to be part of that brand, right? It's exciting because it is a broad platform that gets some real eyeballs on it. And it's exciting because I can actually do what I love to do, which is to teach and educate and share these pieces of what I've learned and what I know to help leaders and executives be better at what they do, be more attuned into who they are as human beings, and make a positive impact not only to their business and to their people, but also to the society and to the planet. And so, if I may just sort of take this a little bit further, I think I have, and I think I told you this, Andrea, that when you said, oh, we'll do PR, I'm like, oh, for crying out loud, PR does not work. For me, it hasn't in 20 years of trying. It's been a fantastic way to take my money and goodbye. And so I can sincerely say that I appreciate being proven wrong. Really, I do. The PR that your team has brought forward has been the most attentive, the most focused, and by far the most productive I've ever experienced. And not only are they really sort of attentive to where the content is going to go, but they've taken hours and hours and hours of engaging with me, interviewing me, talking with me, helping me create pieces and articles. It's unlike anything I've experienced, so I'm digging it.
Oh, that's amazing. And thank you so much for bringing that up, because the way that we do PR, publicity, PR is public relations, and it's about getting the press to write about you. And what I've discovered is no other publisher supports their authors in actually getting attention to the book. They really have left it up to the author, or maybe they say, oh, we'll get you on a couple podcasts or put you on some blurb that we send out about all the other books we're publishing. But at Beverly Hills Publishing, we really craft your particular press releases and your PR strategy from the very beginning, so that when we are releasing the book, we actually got that position for you in Forbes before the book was even published. And so that is just proof of concept that when you do the publicity right and you have a book that's being published and released, that's the newsworthy event, and you are now being recognized as the thought leader that you deserve to be.
I just lost your audio.
Oh no.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You can't hear me. Let's see what's going on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. Let me do that again. You got me? We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad that you brought that point up, because there are other ways of doing publicity, but I'm so glad you brought up that point, Eric, because the way that we do publicity at Beverly Hills Publishing is completely different than any other publisher out there. And while some publishers may throw you up on a podcast or two, or put you out on a blurb with all the other books that are being released by the publisher, what we do at Beverly Hills Publishing is actually custom make your press releases and your PR approach and strategy from the beginning. And we actually got you that contribution in Forbes before your book was even published. And so that goes to show that when you have this positioned PR with the book launch, you're able to make the maximum impact. And now you are recognized as the thought leader you deserve to be.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. It actually, I'm reflecting on the very beginning of the process. And there was two things that stood out for me as novel, right? Something I'd never experienced before. One was the kind of the laser focus on, I love how I came in and said, this is what I want to write about. And you said, well, that's fantastic, but what do your readers want to know? And I thought, well, they want to know whatever I have to tell them. And you said, no, not so much. Let's look for what they want to know. So we went through this very disciplined process of identifying what my readers really want to know and how to position it in the first place so that they will tune into what I have to say. So it's not really about being anything other than being, what do I say? It's entirely authentic, but it also is a connection in a way that I hadn't thought of before. That was one. The other thing that was different was the amount of time and discipline and guidance that I received in crafting the avatar, right? The person to whom I'm writing this book. And that has been a real game changer for me, because we basically narrowed it to one guy, Nick. I had Nick totally dialed in, how old he is, what his degree is, his kids, his hobbies, his fears, his desires, his goals. And then every time I'd feel like I'm not sure what to say, or the writer's block, you'd say, what does Nick need? Like, oh, easy. And so this whole notion of writer's block or not understanding how to sort of weave it together gets a whole lot easier with these kind of really, I know it's a publishing offering, but it's really a writing gift, for the writer. So that was a real accelerator to the process.
That's amazing. Well, I want to know, how has it impacted your life? How are your peers connecting with you now that you say, oh, I'm all over the press, I'm in Forbes, I'm in CEO Blog Nation, I'm in this and that. You're getting press all the time. And how does your family respond? What are your peers saying?
Yeah, no, so my wife says, will the great author please take out the trash? It's Thursday. So, that's really not affected the relationship. Um, the, there's real pleasure in being on the other side of a difficult process. And I've been around long enough to have come across these kind of promises like, write a book in a weekend. And I'm thinking to myself, how? I mean, this is my third book. I write articles all day long. I write, pieces constantly. A book in 3 days is ridiculous. It's a real, to write something that's meaningful, that's got depth, that's got real value to the reader, that is a coherent set of thoughts. It's an effort. And so the folks who are my peers that have gone through the journey, they get it, right? And so there's those of us who have published a book or two or three, or some of my peers have published 40 books. Wow. There's this camaraderie. And for the folks who are in the audience, who are clients, for, friends, we thought years ago that books are going to be passé because everything is going to be electronic and everything is going to be digital and everything is going to be videos. It's not the case. I think book publishing has gotten increasingly more popular over the years, remarkably so. And so it is still considered to be an achievement and a mark of expertise and thought leadership to put out a book. So, the responses I'm getting, other than my wife and kids, which it's not like I want them to think of me maybe a little, but I'm dad and husband. But in the rest of the world, it is a lovely, it's a lovely sentiment to receive back, the appreciation and the respect that that comes with having done something that's challenging, that's worthwhile, and that's a contribution.
Beautiful. Well, like I've said before, you are so deserving of it, and it is so rewarding as your publisher to know that your message and your content is making the impact that it can make, and that's so rewarding and so exciting. And I know that it's just the beginning. So if somebody was watching this video and they're considering publishing a book with Beverly Hills Publishing, what would you say to them?
I would say to them that if they are serious about wanting to get to the core of their message, and if they're serious about wanting to produce a piece that is accessible and that is woven into sort of a savvy business plan, that they should call you up. I'd say that they just want to knock something out just because they could then say, I wrote a book, but they're not really making a significant offering. And if they want to just do something without thinking about how to position on the internet and what additional services to add on to that, they shouldn't bother. They should just do it on their own. But I have no hesitation whatsoever. And as you well know, I've encouraged several people to go your way, because I think that there is I'll use that word again, discipline. There's a discipline to writing a book. And even though I consider myself a very disciplined person, the process and you have been, have made this go from, I think I should, to here it is.
Amazing. And let's talk about the branding. So another part of what we do at Beverly Hills Publishing is, like you mentioned, we talk through and figure out the entire business strategy. And can you talk about the branding, up-leveling, makeover that you've experienced as a result of being published by Beverly Hills Publishing?
Sure, yeah, and I realize as we're having this conversation, Andrea, that at some level I sound like one of those guys who's like, I was just a real miserable thing, and I met Andrea, and my life got much better. The reality is, I was doing fantastic, right? I'm not in any trouble, any danger. My brand wasn't shitty, everything was just fine. And so it is kind of remarkable that you can bring your talent and your team's talent to up-level my whole experience. Because I was already rocking it. But I'll tell you the thing that, it's a good question. What makes a difference is the way that you and your team can lean like deep into my ideas and personality and then draw it to the surface in such a way that it reflects who I am with the kind of sort of dignity and power and authenticity and zero cheesiness. I love that. And that's true for, we came up with a new logo, and I should say I've had several, 20 years in the business, I've had several logos for several different companies, and I take great pride in some, hands-on logo stuff. I take great pride in hands-on a lot of stuff, but at any rate, and you said, let my team do it. Here, talk about what you want, where you want, let my team do it. You came back with 3 options, and I chose one. I'm like, I've never in my life had it nailed as one of 3 options in the first time. Oh, I think we changed one hue from this year of blue to that year of blue, and that was it. So that was super cool. And so the logo, the book cover, you gotta show them the book cover. It's freaking awesome. The what's it? The whole headshots, the photo shoot. I've had, I don't know, at least a half a dozen headshots over the years, and I'm gonna say this again. This is sincere, although it sounds like I'm totally canned and preparing for this thing. It isn't. I've never had a headshot that when it came back, I felt like, yeah, that's my essence. I have I don't know, what, 30 pictures now out of the hundreds that y'all took that my trouble is I don't know which one to pick. They're cool. And more than cool, I feel my essence represented. That's the first time.
That's phenomenal. And this has been such an incredibly rewarding experience to see it all come together, the full package. When you work with Beverly Hills Publishing, we get the marketing message, we get the branding, we get your image, we get your logo, we get the design, as well as the book. And so now when somebody gets to experience you, it's a congruent message, it's a congruent experience. And would you say that having a partner who can support you in all those different levels of your business development, that it's been effective instead of having to go to different places to get all those pieces?
Oh, it's hugely effective. Yeah, I mean, it's hugely effective. It's a coherent, integrated approach. It's everything sort of works together and everything moves forward together. And I don't have to explain what this one did so that one can understand. I don't need to get Lynn to call Brian because this one's doing the graphics and this one's doing the website. That's all resolved in the coherence and integration that your shop offers.
Thank you for that. Well, this has been an amazing interview with you. Thank you so much for sharing your case study. And I would love for you to share what you're up to, where the viewer can go to your website. I think you've got a free gift that they can capture, and just to follow along with your thought leadership, because I know this is just the beginning for you.
Yeah, for sure. So the book, as you mentioned, the title is Leadership Breakdown, and not surprisingly, we secured that as a URL. So leadershipbreakdown.com is the website. There's a piece on there called the 10 Top Reasons Why Leaders Break Down, and so there's real juicy content to be had for free on the website. And of course, you can purchase the book there, and you can discover other things. But that's the place to go. leadershipbreakdown.com.
Amazing. So to conclude, is there anything left that we haven't covered that you'd like to share about your experience with me or Beverly Hills Publishing or the team, or how you've been supported and publishing? Is this faster than any book you've ever published before?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. 3 times as fast, at least, if not faster. Yeah. The only thing I would add is that, every interaction has been positive. Every interaction has been productive. Every team member is professional and engaged and engaging. feel like I'm in one of those interviews. What are your weaknesses? I work too hard. There's sort of, this is going to sound almost not believable, but there really hasn't been a downside for me. There hasn't been an interaction that's been negative. And I guess the last thing that I would add that you haven't particularly asked about is you in particular, and the way that you weave this remarkable domain expertise around the space with this, really fine-tuned curiosity, so you can draw all this data into you, and then a sort of unprecedented intuition that can take me and the work to places that immediately make sense when you go there and didn't occur to me on my own. So yes, the team is fantastic, and you in particular represent and hold a space and a capacity that's remarkably unusual.
Thank you. I received that with the highest gratitude, and I know that this is just the beginning for our partnership and for all that we are co-creating, and I hope that you will continue to come back and share with us your process, your progress, and what you're up to in the world, maybe 6 months, a year from now. I know that you're going to be in a whole new possibility of contribution for leaders on the planet.
Amen to that. And you well know that there's at least 3 or 4 more books that are already, stacked up for production.
And that is going to be such an incredible experience to bring all of them into the world. Well, I am honored to be your publisher, Eric. Thank you very much for your testimonial, for sharing your case study, and please tell the viewer, what would you like to send them off with as a message?
I'd like the viewers to know that you are a creator, and the raw material is love.
Wow. Incredible. There's nothing we can say beyond that. Thank you very much, Eric. And I want to thank you for being here. Thank you to the viewer. Thank you for watching this success story, this case study. We want to give you the behind the scenes look of what happens with our authors, and to give you inspiration and hope that you can do it too. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you about what impacted you from this case study, from this success story testimonial. And of course, if you are interested in working with us, that we would love to hear from you. Apply, and we will be in touch. Thank you for watching, and we'll see